So I recently found out that MGM is the worst because they won't let you show any bits of their movies on YouTube. And then, of course, surprise, surprise, I saw a really awesome MGM movie that I wanted to review. We're going to take a look at Roadhouse, not the newer one, but the one with Patrick Swayze, the original. And man, oh man, it was my first time seeing it, believe it or not, and I did not realize how over the top this whole movie is. What up, you guys? I'm Kent E.S. Larwill, and I'm a writer, YouTuber, who talks about everything from philosophy, politics, storytelling, and more. The easiest way to support what I do is to subscribe to this channel and like this video. It's free and takes a second to do. For those of you who don't know, Roadhouse is a movie where Patrick Swayze plays a bouncer who just recently moved into town to shape things up in his new but super rundown bar. And the owner hires him to clean things up. And it starts off fairly kind of mellow and actually cool to think that oh yeah, okay, this is gonna be a movie where Patrick Swayze has to get into some rough and tumble bar fights and stuff, and he's gonna clean up this bar. Lo and behold, I did not know that it would send you down this weird sort of rabbit hole where he would end up having to fight with the redneck mafia who runs the town and is super bad and evil or whatever. I did not expect it to immediately escalate to an 11, where this one bouncer is apparently going to take on all of the corruption and crime in the town. I also want to give a huge shout out to Sam Elliott. I know that there's probably some diehard Patrick Swayze fans or whatever, but if you ask me, Sam Elliott steals the show, and he comes into the scene as the older bouncer who's kind of the old guy that's, wiser than Patrick Swayze and helps him out or whatever. And this movie's from 1989, which means Sam Elliott has been playing the old guy for over 30 years. Almost 40 years? That's pretty freaking wild if you think about it. Kudos to Sam Elliott. I don't know why I was expecting it to be a regular bouncer movie. I mean, I know that other people have talked about how wild the movie was, but after finally seeing it for myself, I can't believe how freaking bananas this gets out of control so quickly. There's this one part where the other bouncers in town start gossiping about Patrick Swayze, saying, "Oh man, did you hear that there's this one time when he actually ripped somebody's throat out?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, okay." They're trying to build up how much of a legend, Patrick Swayze is supposed to be as this awesome bouncer. And then, spoiler alert, later he literally rips out somebody's throat because it's just that kind of movie. And it's for the first maybe build up hour or so of the movie, you don't really expect it to get this out of control, but very quickly we're pulled into this whole crime fighting thing. And I need to stress how little this movie is about him being a bouncer and him instead coming to the city as a bouncer and then just starting to fight crime because that's what bouncers do. There's this one scene which, because it's an MGM movie, I don't know if it'll let me play it, but I'll try to play it and see if it doesn't actually restrict me. But if it does restrict me, then I'll just quote it here. But one of the deliciously comical bad guys looks Patrick Swayze and pulls him close around his neck and yells out the words,
"I used to fuck guys like you in prison."
"I used to fuck guys like you in prison." Man, let me tell you, I used to fuck guys like you in prison. is a wild insult. I mean, you are, I understand the whole dominance thing and like, I dominated guys in prison and I can dominate you or whatever. But like, man, it's just, opening yourself up for just a couple of rebuttals. But anyways, I don't know, I heard that and I laughed. But on like the note of laughter, I need to make it clear that like as much as this movie is likely unapologetically over the top, at no point do you get the sense that this is like taken as a comedy. It is taken as like fairly serious, that you're like, oh man, here's this bouncer and now he's, fighting crime. I can recall this one movie way back when that sort of hit the same kind of vibe. Starred Jim Belushi and it was called The Substitute Teacher or something like that. And, he was a substitute teacher that was brought into like a bad part of town. And it was like a rundown school or whatever with like a crime element. And sure enough, he is here just like being a teacher. And eventually he starts like, pulling out shotguns and shooting students who are criminals or something like that. And like, it's almost like a lost genre of like, this regular guy in this regular job who ends up fighting crime. Whereas like today you sort of get the sense that like, I don't know, it's always like, a police officer down on his luck fighting people, or like, a secret agent or John Wick. Like nobody kind of comes close, but even that is like, oh yeah, he used to be a hitman or something. But this is just like regular people doing regular jobs that then become full-on action heroes. Like, I mean, I know that a bouncer is supposed to be tough, but like, why is he taking on guys with guns and like ripping out their freaking throats or whatever? And it had me sort of like missing this kind of genre of movie, if you really want to call it that. And, if we can maybe like somehow bring that back, like, oh man, the only person that can like run the banana stand is like Michael Cera. So we need to hire Michael Cera as the manager of the banana stand.
Dad, I want to work more hours at the banana stand.
Wow. Oh, well, that's great. I used to be just like you when I was a kid. I used to love it there.
It's gonna be our best summer ever, Mikey.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna give you a promotion. Welcome aboard, Mr. Manager.
Wow, I'm Mr. Manager.
Well, manager. We would just say manager.
So that he can really shape things up at the banana stand. Oh, but like, wait a minute. There's like a whole crack epidemic that is like ruining the town. And like, oh man, you have to go fight the crack mafia because they're running all of the crime in town. So like, Michael Cera, you, the manager of the banana stand, why don't you go and fight crime and solve the crack epidemic in our town?
But isn't it against the law?
Come on, George Michael.
But not really, right?
It's perfect. We should teach them a lesson.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
I don't know, it's just like, I did not expect this from Roadhouse. And I know that like, I am very, very late to the punch given that this movie was out before like the internet existed. But like, man, I mean, it really hit me, sidelined me. And as much as I do frickin' hate MGM as a passion, I still wanted to give my thoughts on it. So, I mean, I'll try and sneak in a few bits throughout the movie, or throughout the video. But if that didn't work, then, I mean, I hope you enjoyed me talking about my thoughts on this. Anyways, let me know what you thought of Roadhouse way back when. And I don't know, if somebody's seen the newer one, then by all means tell me if it built up to the same kind of hype as the Patrick Swayze one. Yeah. Thanks for watching.